The Testament of Naphtali, Chapter 1. A copy of the Testament of Naphtali, which he decreed at the time of his death, in the 132nd year of his life. When his sons were gathered together in the 7th month, on the 1st day of the month, and he was in good health, he gave a feast of food and wine. After he awoke early the next morning, he told them, "I am dying," but they did not believe him. And while he was Barakah Yahuwah, he confirmed that after the previous day's feast, he would die. Then he began to say to his sons, "Listen, my children, sons of Naphtali, hear your father's words. I was born from Bilhah. Rahel dealt craftily, giving Bilhah to Jacob in place of herself. And she bore me on the knees of Rahel, for which reason she called me Naphtali. Rahel loved me because I was born in her lap. While I was tender in appearance, she would kiss me and say, 'May I see a brother of yours, like you, from my own womb.' Thus Yosef was like me in every way, in keeping with Rahel's prayer. But my mother was Bilhah, daughter of Rothios, Deborah's brother, and nurse of Ribkah. She was born the very day on which Rahel was born. Rothios was of Abraham's tribe, a Casdim, one who honored Elohim, free and well-born. But he was taken captive and bought by Laban, who gave him Una, his servant girl, as a wife. She bore a daughter and called her Zilpah, from the name of the village in which she had been taken captive. After that she bore Bilhah, saying, 'My daughter is ever eager for new things.' No sooner had she been born than she hurried to start sucking. Chapter 2. Since I was swift on my feet like a deer, my father Jacob appointed me for all missions and messages, and as a deer he baraked me. For just as a potter knows the pot, how much it holds, and brings clay for it accordingly, so also Yahuwah forms the body in correspondence to the spirit, and instills the spirit corresponding to the power of the body. And from one to the other there is no discrepancy, not so much as a third of a hair, for by weight and measure and rule was all the creation made. And just as the potter knows the use of each vessel, and to what it is suited for, so also Yahuwah knows the body, to what extent it will persist in goodness, and when it will be dominated by evil. For there is no inclination of thought which Yahuwah knows not, since he created every human being according to his own image. As a person's strength, so also is his work. As is his mind, so also is his skill. As is his plan, so also is his achievement. As is his heart, so is his speech. As is his eye, so also is his sleep. As is his soul, so also is his thought, whether on the Torah of Yahuwah or on the law of Belier. As there is the distinction between light and darkness, between seeing and hearing, thus there is a distinction between man, and between woman and woman. It is not to be said that the one is like the other, either in face or in mind. For Elohim made all things good in their order, the 5 senses in the head. To the head he attached the neck, in addition to the hair for the enhancement of appearance, then the heart for understanding, the belly for excretion from the stomach, and the windpipe for health, the liver for anger, the gallbladder for bitterness, the spleen for laughter, the kidneys for craftiness, the loins for power, the lungs for drawing in air, the hips for strength, and so on. So then, my children, let all your works be done in order, with good intent in the fear of Elohim, and do nothing disorderly, in scorn, or not in an appropriate time. If you tell the eye to hear, it cannot, so you are unable to perform the works of light while you are in darkness. Chapter 3. Do not strive to corrupt your actions through covetousness, or to beguile your souls by empty phrases, because if you keep silence in purity of heart, you shall understand how to hold fast the will of Elohim, and to cast away the will of Beliar. Sun, moon, and stars do not alter their order, thus you should not alter the Torah of Elohim by the disorder of your actions. The Gentiles, because they wandered astray and forsook Yahuwah, have changed the order and have devoted themselves to stones and sticks, patterning themselves after wandering spirits. But you, my children, shall not be like that. In the firmament, in the earth, and in the sea, in all the products of his workmanship, discern Yahuwah, who made all things, so that you do not become like Sodom, which departed from the order of nature. Likewise the watchers departed from nature's order. Yahuwah pronounced a curse on them at the flood. On their account he made the earth without inhabitants and fruitless. Chapter 4. I say these things, my children, because I have read in the writing of Kodesh Hanok that you also will stray from Yahuwah, living in accord with every wickedness of the Gentiles, and committing every Torahless act of Sodom. Yahuwah will impose captivity upon you. You shall serve your enemies there, and you will be engulfed in hardship and difficulty until Yahuwah will wear you all out. And after you have been decimated and reduced in number, you will return and acknowledge Yahuwah your Elohim. And it shall happen that when they come into the land of their fathers, they will again neglect Yahuwah and act impiously. And Yahuwah will disperse them over the face of the whole earth until the compassion of Yahuwah comes, a man who effects righteousness, and he will work mercy on all who are far and near. Chapter 5. In the 40th year of my life, I saw on the Mount of Olives, east of Jerusalem, that the sun and the moon stood still. And behold, Yishak, my father's father, was saying to us, Run forth, seize them, each according to his capacity. To the one who grasps them will the sun and the moon belong. All of them ran, but Levi seized the sun, and Yehuda, outstripping the others, grasped the moon. Thus they were exalted above others. Levi became like the sun. A certain young man gave him 12 palm branches. And Yehuda became luminous like the moon, and 12 rays were under his feet. Then running toward the others, Levi and Yehuda seized them. And behold, there was a bull on the earth, with 2 great horns, and an eagle's wing on his back. They tried to lay hold of him, but were unable. But Joseph overtook them, and seized him, and went up with him into the heights. And I looked, since I was there, and behold, a sacred writing appeared to us, which said, Asher, the Madites, Parisians, Elamites, Galatium, Cassidites, Armenians, shall obtain a share in the 12 staffs of Israel through captivity, shall possess in captivity the 12 tribes of Israel. Chapter 6. And again after the 7 months I saw our father, Jacob, standing by the sea at Yamnia, and we, his sons, were with him. And behold, a ship came sailing past, full of dried fish, without sailor or pilot. Inscribed on it was the ship of Jacob. So our father said to us, Get into the boat. As we boarded it, a violent tempest arose, a great windstorm, and our father, who had been holding us on course, was snatched away from us. After being tossed by the storm, the boat was filled with water and carried along on the waves until it broke apart. Yosef escaped in a light boat, while we were scattered about on 10 planks. Levi and Yehuda were on the same one. Thus we were dispersed, even to the ends of the earth. Levi, putting on sackcloth, prayed to Yahuwah on behalf of all of us. When the storm ceased, the ship reached the land, as it were in Shalom. Then Jacob our father approached, and we all rejoiced with one accord. Chapter 7. These 2 dreams I recounted to my father, and he replied, These things must be fulfilled at their appropriate time, once Israel has endured many things. Then my father said, I believe that Joseph is alive, for I continually see that Yahuwah includes him in the number with you. And he kept saying tearfully, You live, Joseph, my son, and I do not see you, nor do you behold Jacob, who begot you. He made me shed tears by these words of his. I was burning inwardly with compassion to tell him that Joseph had been sold, but I was afraid of my brothers. Chapter 8. Behold, my children, I have shown you the last times all things that will happen in Israel. Command your children that they be in unity with Levi and Yehuda, for through Yehuda will salvation arise for Israel, and in him will Jacob be Baruch. Through his sovereignly power Elohim will appear, to save the race of Israel, and to assemble the righteous from among the nations. If you work that which is good, my children, men and messengers will barak you. And Elohim will be glorified through you among the Gentiles. The devil will flee from you, wild animals will be afraid of you, and the messengers will stand by you. As a man who has trained a child well is kept in kindly remembrance, so also for a good work there is a good remembrance before Elohim. The one who does not do what is good, men and messengers will curse, and Elohim will be dishonored among the Gentiles because of him. The devil will inhabit him as his own instrument. Every wild animal will dominate him, and Yahuwah will hate him. For the commandments of the Torah are twofold, and through prudence must they be fulfilled. For there is a season for a man to embrace his wife, and a season to abstain therefrom for his prayer. And there are the two commandments, unless they are performed in due order, they leave one open to the greatest sin. It is the same with the other commandments. So be wise in Yahuwah and discerning, knowing the order of his commandments, what is appointed for every act, so that Yahuwah will love you. Chapter 9. He gave them many similar instructions, urging them to transfer his bones to Hebron and bury him with his fathers. He ate and drank in soulful glee, covered his face, and died. And his sons acted in accord with the things commanded by their father, Naphtali.